Motown down.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Classic Movie Buffet Theater. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you joining in with me for this episode. Tonight we're going to talk about a cop action comedy drama. It's got it all. It's a film that came out on March 6th of 1987. And it was directed by the great Richard Donner. Now, Richard Donner has brought us such classic films as the original Superman from 1978 with Christopher Reeve. He also brought us a comedy movie from 1982 called The Toy with Richard Pryor.
It doesn't work. That's why it's doesn't. It works! It works! Oh! Whoa! What a wheel!
And of course, who could forget the 1985 classic, The Goonies? He has brought so many films, but those three films are just fantastic films. What can you say about The Goonies? It's an 80s classic comedy. The Toy is unforgettable. It's an unforgettable film with Richard Pryor. And Superman, I mean, it's legendary. Legendary. So the film we're going to talk about today is called Lethal Weapon. And this film stars Mel Gibson, who plays the character of Martin Riggs. And he's also played in such films as Signs from 2002. He has also played in The Expendables Part 3. And that was with Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham and the whole crew from 2014.
How hard can it be to kill 10 men?
You think you could even just wound a couple?
Watch closely. And again? Anybody else?
And he also played in the classic Mad Max from 1979. All three films, fantastic. Fantastic films. I thoroughly enjoyed the Expendables franchise. They made some excellent action films that were memorable, were very memorable. The film also stars the great Danny Glover, who plays the character of Roger Murtaugh, and he's played in such films as Jumanji: The Next Level from 2019. He also played in an action film with Mark Wahlberg called Shooter from 2007. And who could forget his role in Saw from 2004? The Saw franchise is one of the best horror franchises out there. I thoroughly enjoyed every single one of those films. And of course, Jumanji: The Next Level was fantastic. I thought it was real funny. Danny DeVito was excellent. And Shooter was also a great suspense drama action film. Shooter was very good. And the film also stars the great Gary Busey, who plays the character of Mr. Joshua. And he's also played in such great films as DC Cab from 1983. He's also played in Chrome Soldiers, which was a USA Network original motion picture in 1992. Chrome Soldiers was a very good made-for-TV movie. Gary Busey had a great role in that film. He also played in that film with Yaphet Kotto, whom he worked with earlier in a film called Eye of the Tiger, which is on the channel. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. And he also starred in the Disney comedy Rookie of the Year in 1993.
I have to. What the heck was I talking about?
What the heck was he talking about?
Which was a great film. Baseball film. I love baseball movies. Major League, Rookie of the Year, Angels in the Outfield. Great films. Great films. Now, this film had an estimated budget of $15 million, and the total gross worldwide was $120,207,128. Quite a massive take off of this film. The film that started the franchise, an incredible franchise. All these movies were fantastic, from Lethal Weapon 1 all the way to 4. I thought they were fantastic films. The plot for this film is two newly paired cops who are complete opposites of each other must put aside their differences in order to catch a gang of drug smugglers. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for Lethal Weapon. Roll it.
What you got?
Amanda Hunsaker.
She was murdered.
You're breaking in a new partner on this.
Oh, perfect.
God!
Raj, meet your new partner.
I'm too old for this. I pulled your file. Said you're heavy into martial arts. All that killer stuff. I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Have a nice day.
It's called Shadow Company. It's all run by ex-CIA soldiers, mercs, bringing in heroin. These people are trained killers.
I think it's time we turned up the heat.
They got my kid.
If you want her back, we do this my way. You shoot to kill. All you gotta do is not miss. We're gonna get bloody on this one.
Are you really crazy? Or are you as good as you say you are?
It's the only thing I was ever good at.
You ever met anybody you didn't kill?
Well, I haven't killed you yet.
All right, that was the trailer for Lethal Weapon. This is not only one of the best buddy cop movies, but it's also one of Mel Gibson's best roles. Gibson plays the deeply disturbed Martin Riggs with great finesse. You can genuinely feel the incredible weight of his wife's death that he still carries with him. He also displays his ability to portray rage, pure, uncontrolled rage. There's several scenes where he just has that look on his face like he's about to explode throughout this film. Danny Glover is also great in his role as the aging family father and literally embodies the part of Roger Murtaugh, and his famous line, "I'm too old for this shit," has become iconic in the film industry. The first meeting between Riggs and Murtaugh is a classic moment, and the two slowly growing to like each other is perfectly done. There are several scenes that show you that Mr. Joshua, Gary Busey's character, is just as crazy as Riggs, leading to the mano a mano between the two at the end of the film. The music really kind of helps sets the tone throughout the film, especially when you see scenes with Roger Murtaugh and you hear that sax playing. And then when you see scenes with Riggs, you hear that little guitar riff there. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, it just further shows the difference between the two. Roger Murtaugh being the older, more wiser of the two, where Riggs is more action and get in there and beat them up and take them out kind of thing. Let's see. Richard Donner's Lethal Weapon offers its audience a combination of strong acting, a great plot written by Shane Black, humor and drama, and nonstop action in this tale of good versus evil. This is the classic action. This is the classic action film that introduces one of the best action duos ever to come to the big screen, with 3 sequels and a rumored 5th installment to come. They have rumored and rumored and rumored for Lethal Weapon 5. Supposedly, it's been said that it's going to be directed by Mel Gibson, which has been talked about for years. Ever since Lethal Weapon 4 came out, they've talked about Lethal Weapon 5, but it hasn't come to fruition. Would I watch it if they did make it? Yeah, I would. But they ended 4 so perfectly that I don't really think they would need to make a Lethal Weapon 5. I loved how they ended with the 4th one, where it went back and showed the picture montage of all the different parts and the different phases of their lives as they went through and made these films. So I don't really think they need to make a Lethal Weapon 5. But if they do, of course, I'll watch it. I thoroughly enjoy these films. I've been watching other people on YouTube that have reacted to Lethal Weapon as a first time watch. I would love to do videos like that, but there is just so much editing that has to be done, and then you have to fight with YouTube to even show clips or how long clips of a clip you can show. And I mean, kudos to all of you that go out there and make these first time watch videos for YouTube. Kudos to you guys. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication, I'm sure, and it's greatly appreciated by me. In case some of you guys are wondering who I check out on YouTube, I check out EOM. He is fantastic at his first time watches. He's a real funny guy, a big teddy bear of a guy. From what I've seen on his videos and stuff, he's easy to talk to, and he tells you like it is. He's not afraid to tell you what he feels. He also has a music channel that I watch where he's listening to music that he hasn't heard before. That's fantastic. He has a gaming channel. I watch Awkward Ashley. She's fantastic. A channel called Just Some Reactions with Emily and her husband. They're fantastic. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there. So if you want to watch some good ones, check those people out. And tell them Eminem sent you. They may know who it is, but they may not. I mean, I comment on their videos quite often, but that's not to say that they remember me, because there's so many people that comment on their videos. It's crazy. And pretty hard to remember who all was who anyway, and I'm just a little guy. Oh, there's another one I like to watch, and that is Tara's Never Seen. She's fantastic. There's some of her and her daughter helps her react from time to time. Her husband's in the videos as well. She's fantastic. She's really funny. I enjoy watching her quite a bit as well. They all do fantastic work. So, check them out if you got time. All right. So now, what we're going to do now is, of course, get into this, which I like to call movie trivia. There's the thing. All right. So we're going to jump into some trivia for this film. I'm pretty sure there's a lot in here. Usually I go through and I make a list and write down some of these, but I didn't get to do that this time. So we're going to scroll through this together on my phone, and I'll just, read it off of my phone here. So don't hate me for that. Let's see, what do we got here? All right, so first of all, in the scene where Riggs is contemplating suicide, there is an actual bullet blank in the chamber, which Mel Gibson was pointing at his head, thinking that it would allow for a greater sense of portraying the scene realistically and dramatically. While the bullet blanks don't actually fire live rounds, the ejection of air and debris from the gun barrel can and have fatally injured people at very close range. That is a very dramatic scene. It's one of those scenes that um, Mel Gibson really puts forth and shows his vulnerability as far as the Riggs character goes when he's contemplating and remembering the death of his wife and the trauma that comes with that. It's a great scene, very well done, very well written. Excuse me. Mel Gibson and Bruce Willis were considered for each other's roles in Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Both movies were produced by Joel Silver with music by Michael Kamen. Willis was offered the role of Martin Riggs but turned it down, and a year later he did Die Hard. Gibson was considered to play the role of John McClane along with his co-stars from The Expendables, Harrison Ford and Sylvester Stallone, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But they all turned it down. Coincidentally, the script for Die Hard with a Vengeance was briefly considered to be filmed as a Lethal Weapon sequel. That's interesting. That is really interesting. I'm perfectly fine with Mel Gibson playing the role. Bruce Willis may have been able to pull it off, but for him to be in Lethal Weapon, nah, I don't think so. It's become an iconic Mel Gibson role for a reason. Bruce Willis, he didn't lose anything. I mean, even though he didn't do Lethal Weapon, he gained it when he did Die Hard. Die Hard was an incredible action film and spawned a lot of sequels on its own. So, he didn't lose anything by not doing it. Mel Gibson was only 30 years old when the movie was filmed, although his character, Riggs, was supposed to be 38. Not that much of a difference, really, at all. Not really. Danny Glover's character, Roger Murtaugh, is 50 years old in the movie, but Glover was only 40 years old in 1986. So he played the older character, but he looked older than Mel Gibson. Sorry, sorry, Danny. I didn't mean to call you an old man, but you looked older than Mel anyway. So, Mel Gibson turned down starring roles in The Fly and The Untouchables in order to do this movie. I don't know about Mel Gibson in The Fly. I don't. Nah, that is Jeff Goldblum all the way. I'm sorry, it is. Now he could have done the Untouchables. I wouldn't have been surprised to see him in that. That's a great film, by the way. Very great film. Let's see. Blackie Dammett, Dammett, Dammett. Okay, real name John Kiedis, who portrays one of the drug dealers at the Christmas tree stand, is the father of Anthony Kiedis from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I had no clue. No clue whatsoever. Um, Let's see. All right, here's an interesting one. An alternate opening and ending were both filmed and are available on the Lethal Weapon 4 DVD. The alternate opening featured Martin Riggs drinking alone in a bar where he is accosted by a couple of thugs who want his money. Riggs claims all of his money is in the bank and tells the thugs not to fuck with him. Pardon my French. The thugs attack him, but Riggs easily subdues them. He is then allowed to take a free bottle of booze from the bar in exchange for never returning. Richard Donner felt the movie should open with a brighter look at Riggs and filmed the scene with Riggs awakening in his trailer to replace it. The alternate ending featured Riggs and Murtaugh saying goodbye to one another. Murtaugh tells Riggs he's thinking of retiring, but Riggs tells him not to. The ending scene should not have been put in there. I mean, they didn't need that. The ending of the film was perfectly fine the way it is. That is neither here nor there. That wouldn't have made any sense to have that ending in there. So I'm glad they didn't put that in. Oh wow, Leonard Nimoy was one of the choices considered for directing, but he didn't feel comfortable doing action movies, and he was working on Three Men and a Baby at the time. I don't know about Leonard Nimoy directing action movies. I mean, he probably could if he wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know. Shane Black's first draft of Lethal Weapon, which he wrote sometime in 1985, was very different. Not just from his later drafts, but also from the final movie. The first draft was 141 pages long, and it was much darker. It had alternate plot parts, characters and scenes, action sequences, and many other differences. Like an entire ending, which had a big chase scene including a police helicopter, which gets blown up by Joshua, who fires a napalm missile at it, causing it to crash into the Hollywood sign and starting a huge fire. Murtaugh killing General McAllister while he is driving a trailer truck full of heroin and guns, which then crashes and explodes over the Hollywood Hills, causing heroin to start snowing over the burning Hollywood sign, and Riggs killing Joshua by stabbing his fingers through Joshua's eye right into his brain. Riggs was also a much different character in the first draft than he is in the movie, and a lot more mentally unstable. For example, in the original version of the scene where he kills a sniper who is shooting at the kids, instead of using his gun, Riggs uses a rocket launcher to blow up the sniper after he shot and killed several kids. Wow. Okay. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and it may be in here somewhere and I just haven't caught up to it yet, but the scene at the school that one is talking about, where there's a shooter at the school, that scene was pulled from the movie, because I've only seen that scene a couple of times, and I mean, it was not aired on TV that way. They may have just skipped that whole entirety when editing for TV, but I don't even think I've seen that scene on the DVD, unless it's you watch the uncut version. But it was a good scene that they cut out. That was a good scene. But I understand why it had to be cut out too. So I'm trying to see if I can find that scene in here, but I can't see it in the list here. Okay. Just like his character, Mel Gibson is a big fan of the Three Stooges. He even produced the biopic The Three Stooges in 2000. And you see a lot of the Three Stooges throughout all these films, all four films. You see a lot of stuff with the Three Stooges, and Mel Gibson does a little bit of the Three Stooges stick in the films, or you see him watching them on TV or something like that. There's a little bit of that in every one of these films almost. This is the only film where Riggs' shoulder is not dislocated. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. Michael Biehn from the Terminator was considered for the role of Martin Riggs after Richard Donner saw him in the Terminator, but he was busy filming Aliens in '86. I don't even think Michael Biehn could have played Martin Riggs. I don't think there's anybody else out there that could have played Martin Riggs any better than what Mel Gibson did. Uh, in my eyes, there's no way. There's nobody. Uh, okay, finally, the last one. Here we go, the last one. Christopher Reeve, who worked with Richard Donner in Superman in '78, was one of the first choices for Martin Riggs, but turned it down. This was the second role he turned down that ultimately went to Mel Gibson after The Bounty in 1984. That's interesting. Like I said, I don't think anybody could have played Martin Riggs better than what Mel Gibson did. Um, you know, he's the essential Martin Riggs character. Okay, theatrical and television trailers for the film show a few deleted and extended scenes that were never released in full on any DVD or Blu-ray release of the movie. That's interesting. That's probably where the school scene went to. They cut it for TV and cut it out of the DVD. Oh well. All right. We're gonna stop right there. That's enough of that trivia stuff. There's too much stuff in here. I wasn't contemplating how much stuff they was gonna have in there. But there's some pretty interesting stuff in there. I get my information off as far as the trivia goes off IMDb, so if you want to check some of it out, you can. But this is a fantastic action movie. It's one of the best buddy cop movies out there. There's a lot of buddy cop movies out. This one I think set the standard for that. The Rush Hours were great. Loose Cannons is another buddy cop movie, which is a fantastic film with the great Gene Hackman. Rest in peace. That's a great film. There's a bunch out there, but none of them are as good. None of them will be Lethal Weapon. That's for sure. None of them. Danny Glover, Mel Gibson, the whole cast was fantastic. Even down to the woman, I didn't look up her name, that played Danny Glover's wife. She was fantastic in this film. The little girl, his daughter, his youngest daughter, was so cute in this movie. Excuse me. So if you have not seen this movie before, definitely check it out. Like I said, it's one of the best buddy cop movies out there. There's a little bit of something in there for everybody to enjoy. A lot of action, a lot of plot, a lot of drama, and some great one-liners in the film. So there's stuff in there for everybody to enjoy. Now coming up on Saturday, we're going to discuss another horror film, classic horror film. I said in my last Classic Movie Buffet Theater that I was going to talk about a new horror film that was coming out on last Saturday's video, but I did not get to talk about that. I'm going to do it this Saturday along with the main film that I'm going to discuss. It's a new horror film coming out. I'm thoroughly excited to see it when it does come out. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully it stays in theaters and it doesn't get a release on, streaming or Tubi or something like that, like some of the other ones I previewed earlier on. They never made it to theaters. They just came straight out on Tubi, and I've watched them, and they weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. But anyways, that's coming up on Saturday. So we're going to try to get back. We're going to try to stay on track. We got this video today, and like I said, we'll have another one on Saturday, and we'll see if we can keep the ball rolling. So until Saturday, I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your week. Be safe, take care, and I'll see y'all on Saturday. Bye-bye.